Hi, I'm April, and thank you for renting our RV that you're going to be using on your trip. So, first thing, we're really excited for you to travel, but also every RV trip might have something go wrong, and it mostly is because that you just don't know enough about the RV. So, hopefully this video, as well as the other RV videos that we have for training, help you through the process, but also we are always available by phone. So, when starting the RV, there are a couple of things that you need to know as you travel. So when you're traveling, you need to have the battery disconnect on, the ignition on, of course, and the battery disconnect will basically run the RV, meaning the lights as well as the refrigerator. Nothing else in the RV, such as ACs or TVs, will work. You must use the generator to do that. In order to power on the generator, you also need to have the battery disconnect on. So because this is a newer RV, it sometimes goes into power saving mode. So that's why the ignition must be on when functioning in the very beginning of your trip or when you're restarting the RV from being stationary. So to utilize that, the battery disconnect is located right on the left-hand side by the door when you walk in. To know that it's on and functioning, there is a white light that will come on. When you turn that on, if it doesn't come on immediately, start the ignition and then it will power up the batteries as well. You need the ignition on regardless if you're auto leveling or auto retracting the jacks as well. And there's specific videos on that. Other things to note is the slides. So you have one slide and it is the entire driver's side. You should not have any people or weight physically on that slide when it's trying to move, as it can damage the function and ruin your trip. So you can have 2 passengers only on that side when you're driving, and they must be forward facing. If you wonder why, there's only seatbelts on that side. So also there is a extra support there, so the weight can be there while you're driving. So if you're wanting to have a meal or play games, please only do it on that one side, just for safety purposes as well. The other seat belts, there are 3 seat belts on the fold out couch. They are tucked behind the couch, and you can utilize those if you want to by threading them up through the couch cushions. There is no requirements for other passengers outside of the driver and then the front seat passenger to have a seatbelt on. So you don't have to ride with a seatbelt. You can ride anywhere in the RV, and it's up to you. We just cannot help you through that if you get caught by a police officer without seatbelts on. So it is still a moving vehicle. Additionally, if you do have small children, for car seats, the car seat locations and anchor straps would be on the dinette table side, so on the slide side forward facing. The sleeping areas. So there are 4 sleeping areas that you can utilize. The master bedroom, which would have a queen or RV king size bed, as well as the fold out couch. It's a small kind of, I would say a very small 3-person couch, but it does fold out like a futon. And then the dinette, so you remove the cushions, you lower the table, and then you would put the cushions back on. Those 2 items are both shorter, kind of sideways sleeping locations. So I would say the larger location for additional adults would be above the cab. It kind of has 2 small twin size beds up there. You can get up there by utilizing the ladder. Please don't climb across the futon or the couch corners. I know people are going to do it, but we'd really appreciate if you use the ladder, just for safety reasons as well. While you're up there, there are storage bins below where your head would kind of go, or on the passenger side, there are complete storage bins as well as outlets for your needs. On the opposite side, on the driver's side of the cab, that is where the larger TV is. It can be swung out to be utilized in the living room or kitchen area. All the RV TVs that are located inside and outside the RV do require full power to run, and they are smart TVs, so if they are running, you can hook up to your own hotspot for Wi-Fi or use the campground Wi-Fi. So we covered using the slides and leveling, and then also utilizing the sleeping areas. So a couple of things with the additional areas of the RV is in the kitchen. There is an extra counter space. There's a specific video of how to utilize that. It is kind of a spring lever, so you do want to make sure you use it properly, and then also store it away properly. Because of the size of the RV, it can be easily knocked against by someone passing, so only utilize it when you need it. The trash can is also in a hidden compartment. It's on the back side of the sink. And in order to empty the trash can, you actually would go outside the RV. And on the driver's side, it's the only compartment that is on the physical slide out versus under the slide out. So that whole area, it is lined with like a wood paneling, and you can wipe that out versus like spraying it with water. It's not water sealed. Still staying on the kitchen, in order to utilize any of the water, if you do need a sink or toilet as you're driving, you would want to turn on the water pump, which is right next to that main panel by the door. And when you're not using the water pump, you do want to turn it off so you avoid burning out the pump, as it does not self-prime. So with that, the sink has full access, and you do have access to all of the kitchen tools and needs that are in the drawers and in the pantry next to the refrigerator. Utilizing the stove, it is a propane stove. We keep the propane turned off specifically when we travel as full-time RVers, but there's no reason to need the stove while you are driving. But just remember, any propane tank, you don't need to turn it fully on or fully open. It's just a quarter turn and it releases enough pressure. Propane tanks only are usually filled up to 70 or 80%. So if you are utilizing propane, the water heater is propane or electric. So if you're just using it for cooking, you shouldn't use that much propane or need to refill it. Just contact us for that level, and we can help you get it filled if needed, or let you know that you're good without it. Additionally, the oven is a microwave convection oven, so you can cook just like you would be in an oven, just like as there's propane, but it is just electric. If you do decide to use the microwave and the microwave function while you're driving, do not have any ACs or any other lights turned on. The generator is only there for the purpose of running the ACs and minimal lights and electronics. It does not provide enough power to run everything all at once. This is only a 30 amp RV, so if you do have the TVs going, the ACs going, and then the microwave, you're going to overpower the generator and possibly overpower a utility unit as well, because a microwave uses about 15 to 18 amps itself. So just a word of warning. The refrigerator is the thing that we talked about in the beginning about using only the battery disconnect. So the battery disconnect will run the refrigerator, and you can have that on the whole time while you're driving, as it is charging itself as it runs. It is a self-locking refrigerator, so as long as the doors fully close and click, you will hear it. You can control the refrigerator by turning it on or off, or the temperature needed at the top panel. The freezer is also available at the bottom. Just make sure that it's fully closed, because if it does not close, it will leak on the floor, cause damage, and it will defrost and cause you to have a lot of issues. So please do not do that. And also make sure that you clean out the refrigerator and wipe it down before returning the RV as well. Moving into the bathroom area. So the sink is on the right hand side, and you can remove the platform and just store it in the cupboard. It is there just to provide a little bit more counter space, but please do not lose that or kind of mess it up with water, as it is just a sealed piece of wood. Again, using the sinks, you need the water pump or be hooked up to city water. Your fresh tank will be full. Your fresh tank is your water to use for drinking, showering, doing whatever if you are not hooked up to city water. And then whenever using the toilets, that is going into your black tank. The toilet is a porcelain toilet, so it will hold a full-size adult, but it is an RV, so please be careful and utilize only marine grade or single ply toilet paper. The way that RV toilets work is it is just a straight chute, so it is very difficult to get it clogged, but it will happen if you do not dispose of or place anything that will expand, like a diaper or anything feminine products. So only toilet paper should go down in the toilet. using the foot pedal, it does not require a lot of pressure, so you should just be able to lightly kind of press on it, and it will open, provide water, and then it will go down the drain. So that goes into the black tank. Whereas if you're using your shower, that goes into the gray tank, or the clean water, and that can be utilized and released if needed if you have no hookups. So the gray water is just the sink and the showers. Using your showers, the water heater is an on-off button. It does not indicate that it is completely heated as you turn it on, so you want to make sure you turn that on about 30 to 40 minutes in advance of kind of setting up or getting ready to take showers. It is only a 40 or 50 gallon hot water tank, and it is not a full all-time hot. It does have to keep up. So I'd recommend if you have a campground or taking very quick showers, because 40 gallons will go pretty fast. The shower door needs to be locked whenever in motion. It is just a little clip to lock it. So just make sure that is done before traveling, or it will slide and the glass will break. Moving into the master bedroom, so you do have a lot of storage back there in all of the closets by the TV, and then also the bed does lift up in order to put storage stuff down there. You do have your own AC back there, so I recommend if you are traveling to only use the front AC and to open the vent, and so it all dumps in that area. Or whenever you're not traveling, you can utilize both and have both the main unit vents closed, and it'll use the duct system. The duct system is all a single system, so if you are running one, you will get air on either side. And there are soft starts, so if you happen to leave them on while you're starting the generator, they will start and not overwhelm or throw a breaker. But we do recommend that those remain off, and then once the generator is fully powered up, using the microwave as a really good indicator of when you see that light turn on, to then power up these things. Same way with doing the using the utilities for the electric as well. So that kind of covers the full RV from front to back. Going on the outside, on the passenger side is where your propane tank is. It says propane on it. It's the only compartment that cannot be locked for safety. And so again, if you're moving and traveling, no need to have that propane on. And we like to make sure we use the light indicator on the stove. It is a Pilot normal use stove, but we do like to turn that light on to utilize it to indicate that the stove is on and propane is on, just because when people walk by in close quarters, it can get bumped and turn on. If you do ever smell propane, make sure you have all those knobs turned off and go outside and turn the propane off. So I think that covers the inside. Again, if you have any questions, this is a ton of information. So if you have any questions, and then there's little snippets of all the videos to go over this as well. So back to the outside, you do have the propane tank on the passenger side, and then multiple compartments throughout on the bottom. And then your largest storage compartment are going to be in the back. And those are both dry fit storage compartments. So if you do have something messy or a cooler or anything and it gets dirty, you can just rinse those out, and there are plugs in the bottom. There's no other need to utilize any of the hookups or anything like that on that side. The only side the only hookup that you may utilize on that side is called the freshwater holding tank. And so this is where you can put your city water and refill your holding tank for your trip home, or if you're boondocking and you won't have access to city water. All other hookups for electricity, city water, and the sewage tanks are on the driver's side. And that's usually where your hookups will be as well at campgrounds, because normally you back in. So moving on, last thing on the passenger side is the outdoor TV. So that does need generator or full power to utilize, and all of the remotes and everything are out there in that compartment. On these compartments, because they're still a little new, or they're actually just well made, you do want to make sure you fully push them in, because the seal around it, and make sure it locks. They're little swivel locks, so sometimes you do have to turn them multiple times to make sure they're fully latched, because these doors, if one is latched and the other is not, you run the risk of them flying open. You also have one awning on the passenger side, and there's no awnings on the driver's side. The passenger side awning should only be utilized if you are physically there and there's no risk of heavy winds or rains. It will break if there is heavy winds or rain, so make sure you're diligent in putting that up, and all that control is on the panels. So moving on to the driver's side, thank you for still listening to this video, but moving on to the driver's side, you have the first compartment is the generator. You can run the generator from the inside panel. Again, you need the battery disconnect on, and then you would prime for about 3 to 5 seconds and then hold to start, and then you will hear it start, and then the little red light will indicate the generator is on. It is not an instant everything is on either, so you want to make sure that you give it time to fully power up before you're doing any of the slides or anything that needs power. So AC, slides, microwave, all that stuff, you want to wait until you see, I use the microwave as the indicator that it's fully powered. From there, you have some batteries, and then you have compartments, and then you get to the second to last compartment, and that is the sewage compartment, or the holding tank compartment. So this RV, it does have where the hoses are contained inside that compartment. So best practice for hoses is that you want to empty the black tank first. You never keep the black tank open when you're at a campsite, because you need that pressure to build up and be able to flush out. And while it's sitting in that holding tank, it is further degrading. So it makes it easier and more liquid to flow out. Then you want to flush the gray tank to kind of rinse those hoses fully open. So kind of best practice, make sure it's fully hooked up, the hose, and then run it through the circle compartment at the bottom so that it comes out of the RV. You would also run your city water hose through this as well. You always want to hook that up first so you don't contaminate any of your clean water. Then put on gloves, use the black hoses. You want them to fully secure and lock, and then open up the black tank, and then open up the gray tank. So your gray tank should be getting full quicker because you're using sink and you're using showers nightly. You don't need to dump the black tank every single night. You do want it to build up, and you can find those indicator lights of how full it is on the door panel as well. So again, black tank first, and then utilize your stored up gray water to rinse those hoses out. You do not ever want to rinse a sewage hose with any of the other water hoses. So don't do that. And make sure there are little caps that are inside to kind of seal those off. Remove those before use, and then when you're done, you want to close those back up so that way everything stays contained in there. Other than that, there's nothing else on that side, as the last piece of the compartments is the back compartment that flowed through the other side of the passenger side. So that's where you can put all your other storage, and any other needs are there. The spare tire is located underneath the RV. And you will need to call RV assistance to change the tire. It's in your insurance plan that you have purchased through any of the apps, and they require that due to the safety constraints of changing an RV tire. So if you do have that need, please call me and I can help you through that process, or just follow the RV assistance phone number and they will talk you through it. So I think that covers a little bit of everything, but lastly, as I forgot, you do want to make sure you know how to pack up and leave. So the biggest thing is, whenever people are doing inside and outside, is that you do not want to unhook from power too early. So you can unhook from water, do your sewage, all that stuff, but leave the power on, because you need to be able to do that to pull the slides in. That's the easiest way to do it. If you're not doing that yet, or if you're not hooked up to power, you need to turn the generator on to do that because the slides need full power. There was a full video on just retracting slides, but quick things are you need to still have it leveled. You need full power, and then you need to make sure that the driver's seat is pulled forward, because if someone is tall enough, they can lean it back and it will interfere with the slide. Make sure you fully sweep out the RV, have no one sitting or no like heavy weight on the slide as it comes in, and then you are ready to do the last thing before you leave is retract the leveling devices and the jacks. And then you are removing the parking brake and you are ready to go. So as this video is very long, but it does kind of walk you through start to finish of setting up an RV, all the things in the RV, and then packing up and leaving. So hope this helps, and good luck, and watch all the other videos. Thanks. Bye.